Hi, my name is Walt Goodridge, a Jamaican living on Saipan. I'm a former civil engineer with a Bachelor of Science from Columbia University. A few years ago, I quit my job to pursue my passion, become a full-time passionpreneur. Eventually, I escaped the rat race of New York and ended up on Saipan, where I explored the Asia-Pacific region. Today's little story is, and I'm actually in Manila right now, by the way. A few days ago, I did a Zoom call with a fellow who's living in the States and is interested in moving to this side of the world to do a wife quest. And he doesn't want to be with Western women, so he's looking for a change. And in the course of the Zoom call, he asked some interesting questions, and I shared some of those on my Discover Saipan channel that you can check out. There's a link in the description. And some interesting questions came up that I answered during the Zoom call, but I want to elaborate on some of them, or at least one of them right now. And I was explaining to this fellow, I'll call him John, I was explaining to John that life here on this side of the world is a lot different than he's used to in the States. And he's someone who has never actually lived outside of the States. He's traveled to various places, but never spent more than a few days on vacation in any one place. So the challenge was to have him understand the worldview, the mindset, the behavior, what's normal, what's not normal on this side of the world, which is a very difficult thing to do if you've never experienced it yourself. I can tell you about it, and you can think about it, but you will still be viewing it through the Western lens. You will still be viewing it based on how you perceive that women act, or how men act, or how the dynamic between the sexes are, in terms of what you're used to. So that was the challenge in getting him to really appreciate how things are different. But of course, I know that can't be done until he actually gets here in person. So that was the goal of the call, just to give him some insight and to encourage him to come to this side of the world. One of the I was in the process of explaining to him, for example, that here, from my experience, the women who I encounter, walking around, are a little more forward, and even that word is a little judgmental, but a little more assertive, a little more, in terms of how they will reach out to get a man's attention. And I was giving him examples of things that happened to me in Vietnam or China in particular, how girls will just come up to me, and ask where I'm from, or if they can be my friend, and so on and so forth. And he asked an interesting question, which was, when the girls who do that, are they easy? So he's looking at it from a Western, an American lens. And a girl who would be that deliberate about capturing a man's attention, actually giving him compliments. I gave him some examples, even here in Manila, where girls were giving me compliments, catcalling, if you will. And he asked if they're easy. So his belief was, okay, if they're going to do that, then they must be a little looser in the morals, or they maybe a little how a Westerner would describe someone who's easy. And my response was, no, they're not easy. It's simply that for various reasons and this is my opinion, by the way, for various reasons they need to stand out from the crowd. So you as the foreigner, you as the foreign male walking through the street, you are the prize. You are the exotic foreigner, to quote the handle of a friend of mine who has a YouTube channel by that with that handle, exotic foreigner. And you are the unique one. So when you're in a nation, for example, where the girls know that you have other options, the girls know that there's another girl who's just as pretty, 10 feet behind her, then she's naturally going to be a little more assertive to capture your attention. And it's not being so that's one reason, wanting to stand out from the crowd to capture the prize. So I assured him that you still have shy girls, you have girls who wouldn't do that, you have girls who would, but just the landscape itself is a little different than it is in the States, and that's what I wanted to point out. So it's not desperation, it's not being easy. To a certain degree, obviously, if she's reaching out to you, there's something about you that she finds intriguing or attractive, so that might mean she's easy for you. But in general, no, it's just that people are just more, the girls are just a little more assertive because they have to be when there's so many other choices that you have. So that's one take on it that I wanted to share. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that whenever you're taking any sort of advice or using someone else's experience to get a handle on what your experience will be, keep in mind that the things that happen to me, as the saying goes, your mileage may vary. And I believe a lot of that has to do with the energy that you give off, the energy that you exude. So maybe I'm more approachable. Maybe the energy that I give off is more in line with what the girls are looking for. Maybe they like, what they see. So your experience might be different. I can't guarantee you that it will be the same, but I share these experiences just to let you know what is possible, what can be possible. And maybe in another video I'll talk about some of the reasons why I believe the response that I get here is different than it would be in the States. But hope that's a little bit of interesting information for you, and I'll see you in the next video.